Hello my friends, this is Enzo Hagen of the Alliance for Loki, and this is Alliance War Season 14, Wars 5, 6, 7, and 8. So our first war of the season is against PYCB, actually our fifth war of the season. And so as usual, I'm running path either 1 or 2 and path 9, so I always have Mysterio and Emma on my team, and this one I'm taking Namor. So I'm going to run path 1 today, and path 1 has the Starburst node on it, so Namor is really good for that because he reflects a lot of damage. You can see my first opponent's Gamora. So she's only rank 1, 6-star, unawakened, and she's really a diversity play. So I put on some small gold and red boost and go ahead and put on a big green boost, and that is going to be my fight. It has Limber on this node and Starburst, so Namor is great for that. It's a pretty straightforward fight. Again, she's only rank 1, so not too bad. The one thing I do have to be careful of, you can see right there, she is affected by the global node, which allows small champions to evade. So you can see she's already evaded twice, which is always a little bit scary. So I'm trying to keep my combos to 4 and really watch it evade. I'm also trying to bait out her SP1. For me, the SP1 is just a little more easy to deal with than the SP2, which I sometimes get hit by. And so just trying to be careful, slow play it. So you can see I'm taking 45 damage now from the Starburst, and when of course I hit into her, the damage goes to her, so it's really great. Namor is for this fight with his Sig ability. The other thing is I'm trying not to use many parries, because I want to save this for the end of the fight because of Limber. And so that's just better, because then I'll be taking a lot more Starburst damage, and I might need to get a parry in to get some hits in quickly. So I pop my SP3. You see up until this point I've only done about 50% damage, but the SP3 does really decent damage, and now I have the Fury on, and you can see, yeah, my hits now are just going to be so much more. Sort of a funny input there, and sort of just miss. That's what I was doing, but it doesn't matter. I kill her pretty easily. So that first fight, really just a diversity fight, nothing too much to worry about, and it went about as good as can be expected. And so that's all of my work on section 1. Usually the first couple nodes, there's no one placed, and so I just have one fight in that first section. So now I go traveling off to section 9, that's the reverse controls, but again, Emma and Mysterio counter that. My fight here is against a Kingpin. I remember fighting Kingpin all the time on the Path 7 in the old Alliance War map. I'm not quite sure who I want to take against him, either Mysterio or Emma. I sort of go back and forth. I go ahead and pop in a vulnerability boost because I also want to use that in my next fight too, so I might as well use it for both. Again, it's only a rank 1 unawakened, so not too much to worry about. I choose Emma just because she has a little more toughness with her diamond form, so I know I'm sort of baiting out those heavies at the beginning of the fight, and with her taking block hits, it's just easier to have a little more resistance, take a little less damage. And so, I'm fighting him, get my SP2, so he does pretty good damage, both crit, and so he was up there around the 40,000 mark with damage, which is huge. So he's almost dead, and just go bait out one more SP1, and that just about wraps up this fight. Now I gotta bait out one more heavy, and that is that. So very straightforward, again very easy, rank 1, so I've been having an easy war so far, and that goes just as planned. So my second fight on this is against Nick Fury, and so Nick Fury is rank 5. It's sort of an interesting placement for Nick Fury. Certainly if you had to do this reverse controls, it'd be a much harder fight, but again with my champions, it's Emma and Mysterio, I don't have to worry about that. I go ahead and top off Emma. I just use one of my 3,000 health boosts, just that's all I need. And I'm going to use him again just because when he goes into his real form, when he gets rid of the life model decoy, he's stun immune, so just go take a lot of blocked hits, and having diamond form always helps. So I decided to just throw some heavies, probably advice from one of my alliance members. Keeps the build up low and of his power low, and allows me to not build up his tactical charges. Though being a mutant, you do have an advantage against the tactical charges in that I think they only apply 25% of the time. So again, get the SP2, go ahead and throw it. It does good damage when one crit, and he's on his SP2, which is much easier to dodge. And so I dodge that. You can see I did get hit once, so it took away two of my invulnerability charges. And then here I totally get clipped by his heavy, just was sort of trying to bait it out, but he sort of slow played it and caught me by surprise. I sort of got stuck here waiting for his life model decoy to expire. I believe he has suicides on, so once again I get caught by the last part of his combo, just went in a little too quickly, but that's the nice thing about Emma. She does have really good resistance, and now just have to bait out heavies, attack him, and this SB2 totally finishes it off. And so, a pretty straightforward fight. You know, you always have to be careful more. I mean, it's easy to make a mistake, and you can be in big trouble very quickly, so I was happy to get through both those fights. And I stay deathless for the season, so that was War 5 and deathless. It's always nice. This is one of the great things about 4 Loki is, you know, Ares, I believe, had given me the strategy for these fights, and so he's always very, very nice to compliment me, so of course I thank him back, just because, yeah, it's the 4 Loki way. It's very supportive, just a great alliance to be in, and so that ends War number 5. So War number 6 is against MMXIV. A strong alliance as far as characters go, but their wars are okay. I think we mostly beat them. I replaced Namor with Medusa. I'm going to be going in on Path 2, and Medusa's perfect because that Path 2 has the poison that does a lot of damage and the bleed that does no damage, so her poison immune is perfect. And so off I go for that fight. We try to sometimes split up at the beginning of these paths, so Brett took the first move and I'll take the next one just to sort of use our energy in common just to get us there as quickly and as efficiently as possible. You know, it's good to split it up just so we can all sort of arrive at the same place. So my first fight is against a Wasp, and Wasp is one of those characters which I've actually fought a lot in Alliance Quest. She's on the Do You Bleed path, so I go ahead and put on all my boost. A little bit worried because, again, the evade, both I think it's the global node and her natural evade, so that's always a little scary. So I just want to play it safe, you know. For her, I usually bait out heavies, that way she's in her cooldown for her evade, and SB1s as I can, and then I'll probably just try to do 4-hit combos just in case she evades on me. And so you can see just waiting for the heavy, and it's great if you can punish the heavy right after she throws it because it gives you the maximum amount of time. So I'm guessing she's not a SIG 200 because I think at SIG 200 you're pretty close to not being able to get a 5-hit combo, but again, only doing 4. Go ahead and throw the SB1. Always a little scary to throw the SB1s on these evade nodes, but you know, I figured it was going alright to fight, so I went ahead and do it. And then right here I throw it again just to finish the fight, and it works out. So yeah, it was a straightforward fight. Do take a fair bit of damage. I took 23% damage just from absorbing block hits. And Wasp is a type of character where you just don't want to get hit by her. I mean, if you get hit by her, she can do a lot of damage really quick. So off to section 2, again, have the global evade node, have Domino. So Domino was like sort of the original like nasty character on this path because of the reverse controls. Just makes the fight really hard. I've been experimenting with Mysterio against her, so I used to fight her all the time on Path 7 with Spider-Man, and I could intercept her really easily just by dashing back and dashing forward because she has that long double hit medium. I couldn't really do that. I dueled with Mysterio several times, it didn't work, so I just committed to baiting out the heavy attack. So if I'm going to bait out the heavy attack and put on the regen, I'm figuring I'm just going to take a lot of damage, block damage. And so again, just baiting out her heavy, just be careful about the evade, so just trying to do 3 or 4 hit combos. Here you can see I get clipped and take a huge heavy. It was 13,000 damage, and so that was a little scary. So now I'm about at half my health, and she is only about 3/4 left. So I push her to her SP to get a little lucky, because she's lucky, and I'm glad she didn't evade there. That could have been, I don't think it would have pushed her power up to an SP3, but it was getting close. I sort of forget to punish her SP2. You know, when so much is going on in these matches, I'm thinking about a lot. I don't always make the best decisions. So she gets the evade, gets a little power. I decide to throw the SP3, figuring maybe I'll push her to her SP2, which is of course easier to dodge, and then you can attack after it. You can see his SP3 is great. It does a lot of damage. Don't quite get her to an SP2, but it's fine. I hold my block, which is nice because it gets her lucky off, and then I can put her to an SP3, but I just go ahead and counter her heavy and can kill her before she even has to throw that. So yeah, the fight went really well. It took that heavy and it did a lot of damage, but for the most part, I played it exactly how I wanted it. Sort of conservative, and she only evaded once, which was good, but which is probably about what it should be, a 10% evade. So yeah, 1 out of every 10 hits, maybe a few more times. So now we have Hyperion, and I go ahead and wait until my boost falls off, and you can see I'm healing up Mysterio because I do have another fight in this. So this is my rare extra fight war, and you'll see that in a minute. But first, Hyperion. So again, Emma, I took her, I guess I'm not really sure why I took her over Mysterio. She does have a taunt when she's in diamond form, which is good because I'll be able to throw specials, but I feel like either one of them probably would have been about the same. I do have the invulnerability boost on because I'm always worried about specials. You can see here is a classic Hyperion example. So, it's get the power gain, there comes his power, it's growing. I'm sure I'm about to eat an SP3, but luckily he throws his SP2 right at the last minute. He has another one, but this one he's much better about throwing. Now I can unleash my SP2, which does really good damage. Even without critting, does a lot of damage. Here he throws a heavy, which is terrible. It just takes a lot of time for that heavy to go through the animations, and by then he has an SP3. So it would have been a little bit curious how much damage I would have taken, but of course the invulnerability boost shields all the damage, so it's perfect. So I take 0 damage, which is great. And he's at 15%, so he's going to be about to die here, and I managed to get one more SP2, which is more than enough to finish him off. Hyperion's always scary. Again, you just have to get lucky that he throws his power gains. Luckily, the invulnerability boost is so helpful. I mean, as long as you don't make any mistakes, you can absorb up to 3 SP3s, and so that's a pretty great boost to use against him. And I wanted to put this boost on because I am taking one of the minis here. It's a Havoc. I'm going to take him with Mysterio, which is why I healed up Mysterio earlier. Don't have to worry about the global node. This is the one where the closer you are to him, you regen. If you go farther away from him, you lose health. So it's a little bit scary. Plus he has a plasma charge. So I'm trying to push him to his SP2 because I believe that gets rid of some of his plasma charges and bait out his heavies. The nice thing about baiting out his heavies is you're going to stay close to him. So he's going to be healing to your block a lot, and you're staying close. And so I'm actually gaining the regen, which is great because it keeps my health topped up. I have suicides on, so taking some bleed damage, but you see I'm doing good damage to him. Get him to his SP2. I was glad to have the invulnerability boost on because I was just a little bit worried that if I missed on the dodge of this SP2 that it could potentially kill me. And so yeah, I just figured having those on was a good safety net, especially since I just had it with Hyperion 2, so it worked well with both those champions. So I get to the SP3, sort of perfect timing because he's just below his SP2. Go ahead and launch that again, does really nice damage. His SP2 hits really hard, and I'm in this Fury stage. But he does have his SP2, I block it, you can see like 9,000, 5,000 criticals on my hits, and I take him down. So yeah, it's good. It's good to take a mini and have a little bit of an extra fight, which was a nice change of pace. So with that war done, we're off to the next one. And so we won that, and now it's War 7 versus BPT. So BPT and us are pretty close in the standings. We're all in this like top 2 to 5 region. I'm going to take Void for my first fight, so I have to go in and readjust all my masteries. I also gather a crystal, so I get all my masteries set up for Void, which means I have to take off suicides and put on a Void friendly, which is having points in critical resistance, or sorry, in what is that one? The 2 in the resonate and inequity. I think of the 2. I'm trying to think of. And so I go ahead and get some big boosts for this fight and go ahead in. So I fought him a lot. It is a Starburst node. It is limber. So again, I'm going to try to hold off and just bait out his SP2s. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on a regen boost just so I can, get some of the damage both from Starburst and from baiting out his heavies. Because again, I like saving my parries for the end of the fight. And so let him do a heavy, and then off I go attacking him. Of course, he gets the incinerate, but it doesn't matter too much. And And his SP1 is really annoying. I feel like he throws it a lot, and when you're not expecting it, so I'm always trying to bait it out. I go ahead and throw my my special just to start getting more of the debuffs on him. Just go reduce his healing when he gets to that. And you can see he's going down fairly quickly. I'm taking a good bit of damage in this fight just because of the Starburst note and having to do all the block hits. But again, it's a sort of conservative way. Does the regeneration, doesn't really give him too much back. You know, I had enough debuffs on him that he's pretty well covered by them. I guess I actually kept my suicides on this match, but I did put on Resonate and Inequity because I see the weakness. And I take him down, and that's it. And so, straightforward fight. Played it conservative, so I did take a fair bit of damage, but pretty well. So I was happy with that first fight. So I wait for my alliance mates to finish off Section 1, and then I'm off to go fight Section 9. So I zoom over to Section 9, like I always do, and I'm in for a little bit of surprise here. So on Section 9 is a champion I've never fought before, and it is Arcus. And so Arcus is sort of a strange choice, I thought. I was a little bit worried just because I haven't fought Arcus too much, except I did fight him last season when he was a mini-boss a lot, but then I was using Corvus, and it's a much different fight. So I do some duels with Arcus just to remember all of his abilities and how he works. It's a pretty interesting fight against Emma because he has the armor break, which he puts on, which means she's always going to be in her telepathic form, and also the cold snap, which usually she's immune to, but she's not. He also is going to be gaining power, just part of his ability, so I put on the invulnerability boost to deal with that, and off I go. So I'm just trying to fight him quickly because I don't want to take as little cold damage as possible, and you know I know I'm going to get armor broken. So there it is, armor broken. You can see that cold snap hits for a lot, 768, and it's definitely eating me down. Probably should have done a better job of baiting out his SP1, but I decided to just sort of go for it. I have the invulnerability boost, but there I totally forget to block it, and yeah, it's ugly. He hits me with it, puts an armor shatter on. I'm still getting my diamond form though, so somewhat of a strange interaction. Do my SP2, get a huge crit, which is amazing. He's down to 14%. That's scary. I can't get him to bait out attack. I throw my SP1 hoping to kill him. He's down to 3% and he's got an SP3. I was like, oh, this is bad news. I sort of totally panic and miss getting any damage reduction too. So I'm just hoping I survive this. I'm going to have permanent cold snap on too. So even if I survive this, I don't have much time. So I'm watching this last hit and 9%. He has 3%. Okay, so he comes charging at me and he throws it. I go to attack him back and I get disconnected. I can't believe it. I absolutely have never had a disconnect, and what a moment to get disconnected. I was about to, I believe, win this fight in the midst of absolutely about to pull it from defeat, and so I'm really upset. I can't believe it. I'm in Chile at the time, so I don't have a great internet connection, and I go back in, and sure enough, he's at full health. I'm at 50%, a total disconnect. So really upsetting. I can't believe that's happened. And I check, yeah, definitely disconnected. It was a death for me. And so, yeah, you know, I take this all, report it to Taters and everyone else in the alliance. You know, I have very little time left on my boosts. I have to heal her up anyway. So not only do I get the disconnect, but then I have to use, you know, a bunch of health potions to heal her up. So I use 4 there. I have to reapply my invulnerability boosts, and I go in again. So this fight is definitely harder, but I actually felt alright about it. I go back in, I go put the invulnerability boost back on, sort of have the same plan, just try to attack fast. But you will see there's a big mistake I make, so I've already given up 1 death here. And then I'm going against this fight again. So Arcus is a pretty hard counter. I mean, the cold snap and armor break. You know, of course, generally you want to go with a cold snap immune character against him, just to not have to deal with that and not have to worry about it. But with the reverse controls, it's either Emma or Mysterio, and neither are particularly good because, again, Mysterio loses the ability to generate the gas with the armor break on, and so it also affects him. So I play this a little more conservative. You know, I'm just going to go right to his SP2, his SP3, just because I know I'll have to deal with that. So here it comes, but I have the invulnerability boost on, so I'm not too worried about it. He's at 61%. But you can see here I make a really big error. So you can see I was at my SP2, and he does this. I'm not taking any damage. That's great. and get thrown against the wall. No damage. That's perfect. The problem is, though, that I get pushed to an SP3. And the SP3 is just not going to do enough damage. Like, the SP2 hits really hard, but you can see from the SP3 it's not going to do the damage I need. So it only takes him down. What am I at? So, like, just below, yep, just below 30%, 25%. So he's attacking after me. I'm taking huge amounts of damage from the cold snap. It's just, he throws his SP1, I block it. His SP2, I block it, but I'm just being absolutely eaten by the cold snap, and I give up a death. So I have a disconnect and a death. This has been a really terrible war for me. And so I go in, just want to finish him off. I have my vulnerabilities. I have a full powered Mysterio, so I'm just going to go quickly and kill him. There's no one else who runs Path 9, so it's not like I can call for backup or there's any sense of waiting. So I go in with Mysterio. You can see, even though this fight is straightforward, it's still a really scary fight. So get him down to 14%, throw my SP1 just to kill him. And yeah, just from the cold snap I take almost 20% damage in a very short amount of time. Probably was like a 30-second fight. So that's that. That was a really tough situation. Both the disconnect, when I think I should have won it off a really challenging fight, and then going back in and getting killed again. Actually, in some ways playing better. I didn't get hit at all the second time, but I just got pushed to SP3. So, Dr. Doom, he's a character I have trouble playing, I must admit. I've only fought him once in war, and his specials are just really hard to dodge. Decided to go in with Mysterio. I figure if I can build up his SP3, then I have a better chance of killing him. Put another invulnerability boost on just because I'm so worried about his special attacks hitting me. I really need to spend more time dodging his SP1. You'll see in this fight how it affects me. So you know, I'm just trying to, again, bait out his special attacks and then go into him. And so I sort of forget that he gets his aura from the SP1 and that the second part's unblockable. So I mistakenly try to block the second part, but it's unblockable. So you get absolutely hammered. Then he has that, I think when you're nullified, I can't remember what exactly it is, but he can hit you with a heavy because he stuns you. So I get smacked by the heavy, get hit by the second part of the SP1 again, get smacked again by his heavy. So things are not going good. So I have not done too much damage. I get to my SP3, which is great, because now I can start doing a lot of damage on my attacks. He's going to be added to SP2, so it means time to evade it. It's hard to evade. There it is, SP2, and yeah, but I managed to dodge it by some miracle, mostly just frantically swiping back. He goes indestructible because of the metal boost, so that's alright. Doing good damage again. Here comes another SP2, and so just going away and get totally wiped out by it. So I get my third death. So, oh, what a terrible, terrible war for me. It's absolute awfulness. I don't have the second part of the fight. I guess I was too upset. I do go in with Emma. Actually, maybe I do. I'll take that back. I thought I had to record this, but again, so many potions I have to use. So 7 potions, which is about it for me. So if I don't win this fight, I guess Void's going in reverse control against Dr. Doom, so a lot of pressure on me to do well in this fight. So 47%, so I only got him down about halfway. You know, probably should have spent some more time doing the SP1. He gets, well, I get frantic. Like when I do poorly in war, I just want to go back in and finish the job. And so just trying to get him to his SP2 this time, and I'm just going to block it. So it's much better. You can see it does not that much damage. So I feel like I've sort of learned the idea to fight him on this. Get my SP2. He goes indestructible, unfortunately. Gets his SP1, and I use up all of my indestructible boosts, not dodging it. That's fine. Just get conservative. It just doesn't do that much damage. He has pretty good armor. You can see my hits are just doing nothing. Trying to push him to his SP2. I do it, but luckily my SP1 fishes him off. And so that fight went better. I probably would use Emma again if I had to do that fight, and I'd spend a lot more time practicing his SP1s and dodging those. So that was a horrible war. So I went from deathless to 3 deaths. So War 8, we're facing KAANK, who we fought already this season. we did pretty well against them, so we have a fair bit of confidence. We actually lost to BPT. That was our second loss of the season. That was a pretty tough loss too, because we were really fighting with them for a top 3 spot. So my deaths were 3. I think I gave the most of the alliance, and so it really hurt us. Several other people didn't do so well, so overall it's a bad war. So you can see in this war though, surprise, surprise, I'm not taking Emma nor Mysterio. So I have Symbiote Supreme and Mordo for the synergy, which gives him a start of a power in Namor. So Namor, as usual, he's going path 1, and so I have 2 fights this time, Gwenpool and I can't remember the second one until I see it. Straightforward, I'm not too worried about it. Oh, it's Ant-Man, that's right, that's the second one. I throw on the usual set of boosts. I think I go medium red and gold and a big green one. And yeah, it's just the usual things with Namor. Gwenpool, not worried about. On this first node, there's no really extra thing you have to do or worry about, so it's just more just fighting as normal. Maybe there's Starburst in this one. Yeah, I think there's Starburst. But again, with Namor, I'm not worried about that too much at all. So I'm going at it. Use a power start 1. I had a couple in the overflow. Figured just get me to a power SP3 quickly, which is great because once you get to the SP3, then you can more or less finish the fight. Doing good damage, reflecting all my suicides, reflecting any Starburst, and yeah, it's just pretty straightforward with baiting her specials, which are very, very easy to dodge, and overall, yeah, it's again an easy fight to deal with. Throw my SP3, get my eels to do a little work for me, and they get her down a fair bit. And now, like, the fight is essentially over. Just have to parry her one more time, and another combo should do it. And that is it. So, yep. So Namor is great. Yeah, it's just perfect for that node, and yeah, I've been using him a lot this war. And now I have Ant-Man. So it's a 6-star unawakened Ant-Man. So again, rank 1. I really dislike fighting Ant-Mans just because of their glancing and everything about them. And so I go ahead and heal up Namor. Might as well get him to full. Use a big and a 3000 just to top him off. Always trying to be safe. I mean, Ant-Man's only rank 1, but still, needless war death would be so awful, especially in section 1. And so again, I'm going to bait out his heavy attacks, and he gets evade because he is a small character, and so there it is right there. And it does some pretty nasty damage to me. And so quickly, lesson learned, watch out for that. So now I'm just trying to bait out his SP1, get that because it's easy to punish. He finally throws it, and now I can go in, and again the Power Star 1 is really helpful, it gets me really quick to a Power Star 3. I just want to bait out his SP1 one more time, just so I don't push him too high with the power. Time for the eels. He's going down pretty far. He's lost 60% of his health. This fight, aside from the bad start, is going alright. So in comes the eels, and then the trident, and yep, now again one more combo should finish him off, and even with the degen, now I use one of my parries, and that's the end right there. So good fight overall. So I got my first 2 fights in section 1. Rarity to have 2 fights. Often you don't. It's just that first node is pretty worthless. And so now I'm off to section 2, path 9, and I have an Annihilus. And so big surprise. So Annihilus. So Taters and Dreamer decide to set me on this with Symbiote Supreme since she's so good. I guess Emma and Mysterio aren't that great a matchup. And so Symbiote Supreme is, of course, a super good matchup against Annihilus. So I move over to section 2 and just get myself ready. So luckily I fought Annihilus a lot in Alliance Quest since he's one of the new mini-bosses, and I've been taking Symbiote Supreme, so I'm pretty familiar with his fighting style. Worried about this just because reverse control, so I really think a lot about this fight. I'm going to parry him, which you can with Symbiote. He sort of breaks through his control rod. I set up big time Mystic Dispersion just because I want to be able to get SP3s as much as I can, get as much power as I can. I have 1 star of power with Mordo synergy, and I do Power Star 1. I went with 2 bars of power, and I have the big Mystic boost on just to, of course, get more damage and keep on recycling my specials. So I go in, that reverse control, really concentrate on that, trying to make this simple fight, like just parrying him, then going in and attacking him. And you know, he has the special all set, so I'm a little worried about that. There I totally screwed up and went the wrong direction. Throws a special, don't even try to evade it, and I'm already at my special 3, which is perfect. So I throw this, which is going to be huge. I bet the biggest part of this is going to be the 15% damage reduction, so now I can afford to make a mistake and not be in trouble, or even push him to his SP3 if I wanted to. So I throw my SP2, figuring to do great damage, and it does, and totally kill him. So that fight was very straightforward. I was very worried about it, but it went incredibly well, and so yeah, so it's a little bit different. First time I didn't use MM Mysterio on that path, but it worked well. It gave me a little bit of confidence. Like I was thinking back to the last war against Arcus, if I had to fight Arcus again, how would that go? So that's the end of these 4 wars. Thank you all for watching. It's been a great season. So at this point we are 6-2, 6 wins and 2 losses, and I am ready to make the next 4 wars, which I'll put out soon. So thank you all for watching. This is Enzo Eigen of the Alliance for Loki. Bye bye.